Did you know that under Donald Trump's tougher immigration direction, there are Asian countries that may never be allowed to work in the United States again? Because of national security concerns, visa abuse, and long-standing political conflicts, the US is becoming more strict than ever. In this video, we reveal the 5 Asian countries that could face a complete stop in getting US work opportunities. If you dream of working in America, or you know someone who does, make sure you watch until the end, because one of these countries might surprise you. Number 5. India. Why is India included on the list of Asian countries that Donald Trump may never allow to work in the US again? At first glance, it may seem unlikely. India is known worldwide for producing skilled workers in fields like technology, healthcare, and engineering. But behind the scenes, the US has been facing a long-standing immigration challenge: the high number of visa overstaying cases involving Indian nationals. Every year, thousands of Indian visitors enter the United States legally, only to remain in the country long after their visas expire. For a strict administration like Trump's, which prioritizes border control and national security, this is a serious red flag that can lead to tougher restrictions. The issue is intensified by cases of identity fraud, fake employment records, and visa abuse networks linked to certain groups taking advantage of the US immigration system. In some incidents, student visas and work visas are used as fronts, but the true intentions of the applicants are completely different once they arrive in the country. Because of this, US authorities find it harder to trust applications from India, especially when information sharing and identity verification are not always fast, clear, or complete. And in America's eyes, anything that slows down security checks becomes a national security concern, something a Trump-led immigration policy will never take lightly. But the biggest reason India is likely to be targeted by future restrictions is its massive presence in the US job market. Under Trump's America First agenda, protecting American jobs is the top priority, even if that means limiting foreign workers. Since India consistently ranks as the #1 source of H-1B work visa applicants, it becomes the first and largest target if the US decides to tighten or shut down work visa programs. In simple terms, if Trump brings back his strict immigration rules, Indian workers would be among the hardest hit, facing long delays, extremely low approval chances, or even a complete work visa shutdown. Qualified or not, skilled or not, the door to America could become nearly impossible to enter. Oh wait, before we continue, we'd love to hear from you. Do you agree with these issues? What's your opinion on this topic? Drop a comment below and tell us what you think, and don't forget to include where you're from, so we can see how far this video has reached. Number 4. Vietnam. Why is Vietnam suddenly at risk of being limited, or possibly even blocked, from working in the United States under a Trump-style immigration policy? What pushed this former US wartime rival back into the spotlight of American authorities? Today, Vietnam is not fully banned, but it is clearly on the US red flag list, and that creates serious uncertainty for Vietnamese workers who dream of building a future in America. Behind that growing concern are issues tied to visa overstays and weak cooperation on security information, which the US sees as major threats to its immigration system. Although Vietnam and the United States have improved relations over the years, the immigration problems remain difficult to ignore. A noticeable number of Vietnamese nationals have been flagged for overstaying their US visas and failing to comply with immigration rules. On top of that, Washington has long criticized Vietnam's government for its limited information sharing and weak identity record systems. For US immigration officials, this poses a problem. If someone breaks the law, overstays, or disappears in America, will the Vietnamese government cooperate quickly and transparently? That uncertainty alone is enough to trigger stricter screening and tougher visa approvals, even for legitimate, hard-working applicants who just want a legal job. Now, imagine these concerns under Donald Trump's tougher immigration agenda. Trump has always pushed for extreme vetting, maximum border security, and tighter controls on countries with any sign of risk. In that kind of system, Vietnam could easily face future work visa restrictions or even a near-total freeze, especially if the U.S. demands stronger cooperation and Vietnam cannot meet those standards fast enough. This means that while Vietnam is not yet fully banned, it is dangerously close to being shut out of American work opportunities. And unless the Vietnamese government improves its identity tracking, strengthens information sharing, and reduces visa abuse cases, the United States may move from red flag to closed door, leaving many Vietnamese workers with no chance of ever working legally in the U.S. Number 3. Myanmar. Why is Myanmar one of the countries that the United States may never allow to work there again, especially under a Trump-style immigration policy? What makes the U.S. see Myanmar as a high-risk nation when it comes to security and immigration? The answer lies in the country's ongoing civil war, internal conflict, and widespread human rights abuses, which continue to raise serious red flags in Washington. Because of this unstable situation, the U.S. views Myanmar as a dangerous source of immigration risk, making it extremely difficult for its citizens to be trusted, screened, and approved for any kind of work-related visa. For many years, Myanmar has been plagued by brutal military rule, ethnic violence, and allegations of genocide, especially against minority groups. These issues have sparked international condemnation and have led to strict travel warnings from many countries, including the United States. On top of that, Myanmar struggles with weak identity systems, poor security checks, and limited government transparency, which make it hard for U.S. authorities to verify the true background of applicants. That uncertainty alone is enough for the U.S. to say no to most Myanmar nationals, even if the person applying is innocent, capable, and simply wants a better life abroad. Under a stricter immigration approach like the one Donald Trump is known for, Myanmar becomes an obvious target for tougher bans and harsher restrictions. Trump has always pushed for extreme vetting, tighter borders, and zero tolerance for countries that cannot guarantee strong security cooperation. Because Myanmar is seen as unstable and high risk, it is likely to remain on future travel ban or work visa restriction lists. In short, the U.S. believes that allowing workers from a country in chaos could open the door to security threats, and as long as Myanmar remains in crisis, its people will continue to face an almost closed door when it comes to working legally in the United States. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future uploads. Also, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think about this topic. We're all ears. Number 2. Laos. Why would a small, peaceful, and quiet nation like Laos suddenly land on a U.S. immigration red flag list? At first glance, Laos isn't a troublemaking country. There are no major wars, no global controversies, and no aggressive foreign policies. But behind the calm image, the U.S. sees a serious security blind spot: weak documentation systems, limited identity tracking, and a history of overstay problems involving Lao nationals in America. So despite its low-profile reputation, Laos has become one of the countries Washington is now watching closely and possibly restricting even further. One of the biggest reasons is the lack of strong passport security and poor data sharing with international agencies. U.S. immigration officials have long complained that it's difficult to verify background records of travelers from Laos because the country's database system is outdated and incomplete. For a strict administration like Trump's, this is non-negotiable. The U.S. wants full transparency, fast identity verification, and airtight cooperation, especially for foreign workers. But if a country cannot confidently confirm who is entering and why, the U.S. considers that a national security risk. The result: Laos became one of the nations heavily affected by new visa restrictions, especially for work-related categories. The U.S. also recorded recurring problems with undocumented labor and visa overstays by some Laotian nationals in past years. These cases, even if not massive in number, were enough to damage trust. Washington's message is simple: if a country cannot ensure that its citizens will follow immigration rules, stricter policies will follow. And that is exactly what happened. Today, many applicants from Laos face longer screenings, higher denial rates, and limited opportunities to secure work visas, especially under policies that prioritize national security above all else. In short, Laos is not banned yet, but it sits dangerously close to that line. If Trump's tougher immigration rules return, Laos is one of the countries most likely to face a deeper freeze on worker visas. And unless the Laotian government modernizes its passport system, improves data sharing, and tightens cooperation with U.S. immigration authorities, the door to America will continue to close, not open, for many Lao workers dreaming of a better life abroad. Number 1. Iran. Why is Iran the number one Asian country that the United States will almost never allow to work on American soil, especially under Donald Trump's leadership? The answer goes far beyond politics. For more than 4 decades, Iran and the U.S. have stood on opposite sides of global power, locked in one of the most bitter and unending rivalries in modern history. Their conflict involves nuclear programs, military tensions, and decades of broken diplomacy, making Iran one of America's most distrusted nations on earth. Because of this, U.S. immigration authorities treat Iranian applicants with maximum suspicion and extreme caution. For ordinary Iranian citizens who simply want to work and build a better life in America, the system is already stacked against them, even before their paperwork is reviewed. This situation became even more severe when the U.S. officially labeled Iran as a state sponsor of terrorism. This is the harshest category a country can fall under in U.S. law. Once a nation is placed on that list, America automatically enforces full sanctions, frozen diplomatic channels, travel blocks, and near-total visa denial rates, especially for employment-based visas. Even if an Iranian worker is talented, highly educated, fully documented, and supported by an American employer, their application will still face almost impossible odds because U.S. security policy views Iranian nationality itself as a major risk factor. In the eyes of Washington, protecting the homeland is the top priority, no exceptions, no shortcuts, and no chances for countries tied to terrorism or anti-U.S. movements. Now that Donald Trump is back in power with his zero-tolerance immigration philosophy, Iran will continue to sit at the top of the no-entry list. Trump's stance is clear: strong borders, extreme vetting, and no visas for high-risk nations. During his previous term, Iran was one of the first countries hit with a full travel ban, and under his renewed leadership, that same policy is expected to return, possibly even stricter than before. As long as the U.S.-Iran conflict remains unresolved, Iranian workers will face the toughest immigration barrier in the world, with almost no pathway to American employment. In short, for Iranian citizens, the American dream is not just difficult, it is closed, locked, and heavily guarded, and it may stay that way for many years under a Trump-driven immigration agenda. And that wraps up our list of the 5 Asian countries Trump may never allow to work in the U.S. again. Whether we agree with these policies or not, one thing is clear: the world of immigration is changing fast, and every decision can affect millions of lives and dreams across the globe. If you want more eye-opening content like this, Don't forget to leave a like, hit subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss our next upload. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.